advance, Jerry. All right, we are so excited about our program today. We know that there have been a lot of changes in the business industry, so we have brought to you two experts that will really help you, we feel, in your business to make sure that you are compliant with what you do. So we're going to start with Chip Ferguson. He is partner with Atkinson Ferguson Law Firm here in Monroe. Chip grew up in Colbert, Georgia. He attended the University of Georgia where he obtained his BBA degree, summa cum laude, with highest honors in 2000. Chip remained in Athens for law school, graduating cum laude in 2003. After law school, Chip joined the Birmingham, Alabama firm now known as Bradley, Art, Bold, Cummings, LLP, where he was named partner in January 2010. In April 2011, Chip moved to Monroe and became partner at Atkinson Ferguson, LLC. Chip is licensed in both Georgia and Alabama and maintains a general civil litigation practice. He has extensive experience representing businesses, individuals, and governments in a wide variety of matters. He has been named as a rising star in business litigation by Super Lawyers magazine 6 times, an honor limited to no more than 2.5% of lawyers in the state. We are so fortunate to have Chip in our community and with us today in our chamber. So Chip, if you will come forward, please give Chip a hand. And we're going to give you a time for questions for both speakers at the end of the program. So if you have any questions, please make some notes and we'll be glad to address those. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Jerry. Thank y'all for having me today. It's an honor to be here. I've been asked to speak on the Department of Labor's new overtime rules. I know that's not the most exciting topic in the world, but before you doze off, I will tell you I've been attempted to inject a little bit of workplace humor into the presentation to hopefully make it a little more tolerable. This presentation is intended to be just a general overview of the new labor laws, the new overtime rules, and the FLSA. I would encourage you to consult with your attorney about any questions or specific issues that you may have on these topics. I have a client in Athens who recently asked me to advise them on how these new rules are going to impact them. It's a lot cheaper to work with your lawyer on the front end than waiting until something has gone wrong and you're facing a lawsuit. So I would encourage you to consult with your lawyer on these issues. If you don't have one, I know some good ones. In any event, I'm going to start. Let me get my clicker here. The way I've set up this talk is basically we're going to start with just the basics of the Fair Labor Standards Act. Then we'll move through how the new rule is going to change the law, what the new rule's impact will be, what your options may be on how to deal with this, and then I will also talk about some red flags that you want to be cognizant of. What does the FLSA do? First of all, it was enacted back in 1938. The main things that it does is it sets the minimum wage, which you're all familiar with. It requires payment for overtime for any employees unless there's some exemption that applies, and we'll talk about some of those. It also imposes notice and record-keeping requirements, and finally it sets child labor standards. The FLSA does not do certain things that I want you to be aware of. It does not wade into vacation, holiday pay, severance pay, any of those issues, meal or rest periods, doesn't delve into pay raises or fringe benefits. None of that is covered by the FLSA. Some of those issues, including the number of hours that someone can work, that might be addressed by contract or some collective bargaining agreement or some other federal or state law, but the FLSA does not wade into those topics. The limitation on hours brings me to the first bit of workplace humor that I've included. I don't know how well you can see this, but the employee walks in to meet with the employer and the employer tells him the company has laid off about 20,000 employees. What do you feel about a 168-hour work week? Now, if you want to pay someone 128 hours of overtime a week, then you can do that under the law. You're perfectly within your rights. I would suggest that you may have some burnout issues if you choose to do that, but the FLSA just says you have to pay them overtime. Doesn't limit you on how much overtime you can pay. So let's talk a little bit about the overtime requirements. Generally speaking, you're going to pay time and a half for hours worked over 40 in a week for an employee. We're all generally familiar with that concept. There are certain exceptions that may apply to that 40-hour rule that we're not going to really spend much time on today. But generally speaking, again, the 40 hours is what everything is tied to. And the employees are entitled to that overtime unless they're otherwise exempt. Now, a common misconception is, well, this person's salaried, so I don't have to worry about overtime issues. That's not the case. Overtime, who's entitled to overtime is determined by the amount of the pay in certain instances, and also what the job duties are. So again, simply putting someone on salary does not fix your problem. Some of the exemptions that I want to speak on briefly today, there's a white collar exemption. That's broken down into 3 categories that we'll talk a little bit about: professional, executive, and administrative. There's also an exemption for what they call highly compensated employees. As you can imagine, the higher your rate of pay, the less concerned the government is about you getting paid overtime. So that's kind of the white collar exemption, and then the highly compensated. To qualify for a white collar exemption, there's 2 tests that must generally be met. One is the salary basis test. The other is the job duties test. Both of those are what's important, because you can meet one and not the other and not be exempt. We'll talk about that a little more. So we're talking about people that are on salary, and the salary is when you've got a fixed, predetermined salary that doesn't change based on how many hours you work in a given week, or frankly the quality of your work in that week. Now, and I've got it marked out because this is going to change, but right now, in order to qualify for the white collar exemption, you must make at least $455 a week, or $23,660 a year. Right now, if you have a base salary of say $20,000 and you have other compensation such as commissions or some other bonus structure, that is not considered in seeing whether you meet that minimum salary requirement. So in other words, today, if someone makes $20,000 and they would otherwise be exempt, they're not exempt under this white collar exemption. They may be exempt under something else, but not under this white collar exemption. As far as the duties, another misconception is you can put a title on somebody and make them exempt. You can say, you're my executive director, and so therefore I don't have to pay you overtime. Not true. The actual duties are what governs the exemption. So what you're trying to find out in a white collar context is the employee's primary duty professional, executive, or administrative? We'll go through a couple of just on a very high level what those mean. Several different types of professional employees. Like learned professionals is one example. Creative professionals, or someone who's a lawyer or a doctor, essentially. You have to regularly perform work that requires advanced knowledge in some field of science or learning or some specialized area, or that requires invention, imagination, originality, or talent in a recognized field of artistic or creative endeavor. Now, it's so important to note that for lawyers, all these underpaid lawyers and teachers and doctors, they don't, the salary threshold doesn't apply. So even if they're paid more than the minimum, or less than the minimum, they still would be exempt from overtime. The executive exemption. The primary duties that you have to have for the executive exemption to apply is you have to be managing the business or some department thereof. You have to direct, you have to supervise, essentially, direct the activities of at least 2 or more full-time employees. You have to have the ability to hire and fire, or at least your opinion as to hiring and firing is very important. And given great weight. And a good example of the executive exemption, somebody that's, say, a retail manager, say at a Walgreens or whatnot, that supervises the store employees, hires and fires, and things like that. Those are going to be the people that would meet the job test for the executive exemption. And again, the salary would be a different issue. Administrative exemption. That's going to be people that are doing non-manual office work that directly relates to the management or general business operations. Not saying that they're just answering phones and filing things or whatnot. They are actually have a role that requires independent judgment and requires discretion. Those types of decision makers are going to qualify for the administrative exemption. These are all case by case that you really have to analyze to make a determination as to whether these are met. A good example of this administrative exemption that you could identify with would be an insurance adjuster, someone who's interviewing witnesses, inspecting property damage, making determinations about a claim. That's someone that's exercising that discretion and independent judgment that would make them qualify for the administrative exemption. The highly compensated employee, that exemption relates to someone who's making at least currently $100,000 a year. Now, there on that side, you can consider bonuses and whatnot, as long as their base salary is at least the $455 a week or the yearly salary that we covered before. That person has to perform some office work and customarily at least one of the duties that's covered by the 3 areas we talked about earlier: professional, administrative, and executive. For the highly compensated person, the standards are not as rigorous. Again, as I alluded to before, the higher paid you are, the less people are concerned about being overworked. Other exemptions that you should be aware of: outside sales. It's exempt, generally speaking. There's no salary that factors into that exemption. If you're in outside sales, then the exemption applies for that. Computer employees that make at least $27.63 an hour, exempt. Also, again, lawyers, doctors, teachers, no salary issue, they're all exempt. Now, that brings us to the new FLSA rule. It's really a Department of Labor rule. This is a regulation that the Department of Labor has come up with in response to a directive from President Obama. So all these things that you're having to go through now to make sure you comply, you have President Obama to thank for that. It's now a final rule. The effective date has been scheduled very soon. It's supposed to go into effect December 1, 2016. I've marked that out because there's some active going-ons as we speak in Congress where there's an effort to try to get the implementation date delayed until June of next year. The idea is that Congress recognizes that there is going to be some adjustments that are going to need to be made by employers that's going to require some thought, and they want to give more time for everyone to see how that's going to relate to their business. So that's still in flux, but there is an ongoing effort to get that effective date delayed. So the new rule, what does it do? It essentially raises that minimum salary that we talked about for these white-collar exemptions from $23,660 a year up to $47,476 a year. The math roughly equates to double. So someone that was making $25,000 and was otherwise exempt before, that person's no longer going to be exempt because they have to make the minimum now of $47,476. Real briefly, I'll explain kind of where they came up with that number. They took census data They looked at percentiles of earnings. They said the 40th percentile of the earnings for full-time salaried employees in the lowest wage census region, which happens to be the South currently. That's where they came up with that number. So the 47,476 is the 40th percentile of salaried workers' wages in the South. It also provides for periodic adjustments going forward. So as that number grows, as far as what wage earners are making, you would expect there to be adjustments to this minimum requirement. As far as highly compensated employees, they're moving that number from $100,000 to $134,004. This is the 90th percentile of the earnings. Again, for the South region is where they came up with that. And again, it will increase every 3 years as that number grows over time. Now, there's another little change to the law as part of this is now they're going to allow you to use 10% of that minimum can be in the form of non-discretionary bonuses or incentive payments or commissions, and that's going to be something that's tied, it's set. It's not I'm just walking into your office one day and said you've done a great job, I'm going to give you a $10,000 bonus. It doesn't work like that. It has to be something that's tied to your performance or a set percentage commission on your sales. But anyway, so now, for instance, if you're paying someone $45,000, just under the threshold, but they get a non-discretionary bonus or some commission that takes them over that minimum, they would meet that requirement now and be exempt, whereas under the old law it would not. We just talked about what non-discretionary means. So, and then it's on the highly compensated employee, the discretionary bonuses have a much bigger impact on that. As long as you're making a base salary of $47,476, but your commissions and your non-discretionary bonuses take you above that $134,000 total, then you would qualify as exempt under the highly compensated employee exemption. Now, what's the new rule not do? Again, we talked about what the FLSA does not do. Let's also talk about what this new rule doesn't do. It doesn't affect non-exempt employees, people that are manual laborers or whatnot that are paid overtime, or any number of other employees that don't meet one of these exemptions. No change as to them. It doesn't apply to employees that are exempt under some other exemption, the school teachers, lawyers, doctors. No effect on them. It doesn't change the duties test. You still have to meet the certain duties to determine whether you're exempt under the white collar or highly compensated employees. It's really a numbers game as it relates to those two types of exemptions. Now, the new rules impact. It's currently estimated that 2 million employees that are currently exempt will no longer be exempt under the new rules, unless some changes by the employer are made, which we'll talk about. No one really knows what that ripple effect is going to be because if employers start increasing their minimum salary to make more employees exempt, it's going to increase the minimum salary. So that minimum could be an ever-moving target. But that's yet to be determined. All right, so more humor. This is someone that is interviewing a job applicant. And they say, now how could you have 30 years experience when you're only 20 years old? And the answer is lots of overtime. And I think that's what we can expect to see from this new rule is lots of overtime. So she got made up for some lost time with a lot of extra work. In any event, who's affected by this? All employers are in the private sector, nonprofit, profit, and then government as well. And then really the kind of sweet spot that has where the rule has the biggest impact is going to be those otherwise exempt employees that make between the $23,600 old minimum and the $47,476 new minimum. Again, there's also other exemptions that could conceivably apply for some of these people, but that's the target group that you're going to have to be cognizant about. Again, we talked earlier about the example of a retail manager or someone that would ordinarily be exempt. You may have someone that's making $33,800 a year today, exempt, they work 50 hours a week, as a routine matter, no overtime issues whatsoever. Whenever this new rule goes into effect, whether it be December 1 of this year or June 1 of next year, they're going to lose their exempt status. And so now they're going to be eligible for overtime, and obviously that's something that the employer is going to have to be cognizant of and decide how they want to handle it. So, the importance of what you should do now. What should the employer do? The main thing is to act, to do something. Consult your lawyer, consult whoever, your consultants in how you operate your business to make sure that you've thought through this. You need to get an idea of how much are your workers working. What track their time. How many people are really working more than 40 hours as opposed to closer to 20. And then you need to make a determination as to who to keep exempt and who are you fine with being not exempt. You also are going to have to look at possible changes to your policies. You may have a kind of a loosey-goosey system now, but this new law makes you decide to go to a time clock or have a specific overtime policy that sets the record straight as to what's expected in that regard. And again, you're going to need to analyze your job duties of your employees and see what exemptions might apply to them. Now, we'll generally talk about some things that you could do to address the situation. You could increase salary, certainly one way to do it. Now that, if you raise them to over $47,476, then if they're otherwise exempt based on their job duties, that'll fix the problem. That's only probably going to work for someone that's making close to that amount. In other words, it's a lot easier to stomach moving someone from $45,000 to 47 and change than it is to move someone that's at 35 up to 48. That's going to have a lot bigger impact on your bottom line. You can use bonus and programs to offset part of that salary increase. Again, that doesn't buy you much, but it buys you a 10% buffer to get you over that hump. In other words, you've got a $45,000 employee, you need to get them up to that $47,476. You can establish some sort of incentive, non-discretionary bonus program that you know is going to get them an extra $3,000 or $4,000 over the course of the year. You can require that employee that if they're going to make that extra salary, that you're going to require more out of them. In other words, if they're working 50 hours now, you may require that the general expectation is that they're going to be working 55 hours. Of course, anytime you start increasing those expectations, you have morale issues and quality and quantity issues to contend with. But that's certainly a way that you can offset that increased salary is by expecting more out of your employees. You can certainly also reduce benefits. Again, not necessarily a popular decision, but that is something that you can do to make the numbers work. Other options is you can just keep them non-exempt. You just recognize that they're going to have that they're going to be 40 hours, and if they work more than that, you're going to have to pay them overtime. The easiest way to deal with overtime issues is to not allow people to work more than 40 hours, and that requires real tight practices on timekeeping, because that can you can make some very major inadvertent mistakes if you're not careful. You can change your structure and use part-time workers again, and you can outright send workers home. And then the next bit of humor relates to that. But the last thing that I point out is if they're a purely hourly worker and you have to pay them overtime this week, then you can offset that by working them less the following week. All right, so this is an employer that walks in and his employee is sleeping. And he says, "Wake up, Harper, it's 5 o'clock. I need you to go home. I don't want you to put in for overtime." So obviously, if you've got an employee that's not productive while they're there, you certainly don't want them generating overtime. Again, this is a little more detail in some of those issues we just discussed, but option one would be to leave them salary, manage the overtime. A lot of people like being on that salary because it gives them, maybe that makes them eligible for some employee benefit plan that hourly workers are eligible for. But continue to pay them that weekly salary, make them report all the time that they're there, and limit the hours over 40 so that you're not incurring overtime. You have to be careful about poor timekeeping. Again, that can create some problems that could otherwise be avoided. You could still make them salary, but pay them, really make them kind of glorified hourly workers. You could say, look, we're going to pay you a salary, but if you don't work 40 hours for that salary, then we're going to reduce your pay accordingly. You're still going to try to have to control overtime in that way, but it allows them at least to maybe qualify for these plans and make them feel like a salaried worker. You could change to the traditional hourly model. Again, you've got to just make sure that you're keeping up with hours and have good timekeeping policy. And in fact, if you want to change them to hourly and you know you're going to have to pay them some overtime, you can adjust their pay so that they're essentially making the same thing they were before. So those are some things that require some time to think through. And again, if you move them to hourly, you just need to make sure that you address the eligibility for benefits and any morale issues that might result. Some additional options that I don't want to get into today because they're too technical for this presentation, but there are concepts, some of which are disfavored by the Department of Labor, but you can have fluctuating work weeks, day rates. Those are all ways to try to budget your payroll expenses. In the government context, there's a concept called comp time policies, and that's only available for government employers. But essentially, it allows you to, if you have to work overtime one week, say you had some kind of special event that required 44 hours, well, ordinarily you would have to pay the equivalent of 6 hours of pay for that 4 hours of overtime. In the government context, they'll allow you to give that person 6 hours of paid time off the next week instead of paying overtime. So again, your budgets remain the same, your payroll expense remains the same, but you send them home to make up for time that they work in addition. Real quickly, I just want to point out some red flag areas that you'll want to be cognizant of. You got to be careful about classification of time. If you send someone to some sort of seminar that's required by their job, that's likely going to count towards their 40 hours. Travel time, you don't have to compensate someone for their commute into work, but if they're going from job to job, that's something that would generally be put on the clock and would count towards that 40. You have to be careful about that good employee that wants to work voluntary hours. I'm behind, I'd like to come in Saturday and catch up. That's great that they want to do that, but if they're working over 40, if they're not otherwise exempt, then you're going to have to pay them overtime for that. It doesn't matter what they want to do, it's what the law says. You have to be careful, obviously, about treating someone as exempt when they're not. And then finally, where a lot of mistakes are made is, oh, this employee is not an employee, they're an independent contractor. Well, that's just calling them an independent contractor does not make them one for purposes of this law. So you have to be real careful thinking you're in the clear by saying they're just an independent contractor. So those are just some things that I want you to be cognizant of. This last slide goes back to the importance I mentioned earlier of consulting with your lawyer on the front end, is because if you make mistakes, they can be costly. The rules are written where you're either in violation or you're not, so it's very easy to prove violations if you've not been paying someone overtime when they should be receiving it. The Department of Labor can pursue actions through court or administratively. Criminal and civil penalties. Criminal penalties come into play if you've got 2 sets of books or something and you're trying to game the system and someone's really, well, look, here's my books that show they were only working 40 hours and you've got another set that says they're working 65. Big problem. You go to jail for that. Civil penalties can be up to $1,100 for each violation, which, as you can imagine, can get really high in a real hurry. Finally, private lawsuits. Your employee can sue you for back pay. There's a concept of liquidated damages, which essentially is a way to double up the amount you owe is equal to the back pay that you would have to pay. And an employee that sues an employer for violations of the FLSA, if they win, they get their attorney's fees. So again, just a small amount of overtime that you messed up on can turn into a big monetary problem for you. So that brings us to the last slide. It says, you know, we're all looking for that work-life balance. That's a common, you know, where everybody tries to balance that family time with the work time. And I thought this ironic cartoon was pretty good to end on. The boss is saying, I'm afraid you'll have to stay late tonight. I want you to attend this talk on work-life balance. So I think you can see the irony in that. But in any event, I'm happy to help you in any way I can, and I hope this has been a helpful overview for you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. We are here in Monroe, Georgia, and we're here with Eric Crawford and David Boyle, and at Crawford and Boyle Law. And first want to thank you guys on behalf of the Chamber for being a member. And also, both of them are past graduates of Leadership Walton, so we're very proud of that. We hope you all enjoyed the classes. I'm a 2012, and I can't say enough about it, so I'm glad to have y'all do that as well. We also have Larry Brady with the City of Monroe, with the City Council here. If you want to say a couple of words to you.
Sure, thank you, Terry. Eric, David, on behalf of the mayor and council and the people of Monroe, all the people of Monroe, I want to, just congratulate you on your new office space you've got here. We did the tour around a few minutes ago, and it's quite impressive what you've done. And I know you like the location, parking, and spaciousness and everything. So welcome to this area of Monroe, and we love having you as a citizen.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, Larry. All right, so David, you want to tell us what kind of law do you practice?
Sure. Our office is located directly across the street from the Walton County Government Building. We practice criminal defense work primarily, but also do domestic, divorce, child custody, and personal injury matters.
Excellent. All right, and so people can come in, they can contact you just through email or give me your telephone number?
Sure. They can contact our office at 678-951-8821. We also have my email at crawfordboyle.com, and our website is at crawfordboyle.com.
Excellent. Well, very good. And again, congratulations on your new location. I know y'all are excited, and y'all ready to go cut the ribbon?
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
All right. Very good.
Thank you.
1, 2, 3.
Hello, it's a great day in Monroe, Georgia, and we are here with Renisha Jackson at RJ's Soul Food and More. Ms. Jackson, we want to thank you on behalf of the Walton County Chamber. We're excited to have you as a chamber member. We love having more restaurants to feed our tummies and to get all the good food inside of us, so I want to just thank you. And I believe we have Larry here with the City Council of Monroe. Would like to say a couple of things.
Renisha, I do want on behalf of the City Council of Monroe welcome you to this location. I like it. You're right here, convenient to the government center over there, convenient to Athens Tech, and easy access off of Spring Street coming into your place. So on behalf of the council of the City of Monroe, welcome. We're glad to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you, Larry. All right, Renisha, tell us all about RJ's Soul Food and More. I see we have the menu behind us, so you have all types, but tell us, do you have any specialties or anything?
Yes, ma'am. RJ Soul Food and More is a family-based business. We actually started out about 3 years ago, and we just kept at it. We sell a variety of different foods. We sell soul food, hot wings, chicken, homemade chicken salad, anything you need, we got it. My name is Renisha Jackson. This is my mom, Jacola Manning. This is my son, Zay Myers, my daughter, Jay Maris, my brother, Adrian Manning. This is my niece, my sister, my god nieces, my husband in the back, my son in the very back. We're just a happy family, and we have reasonable prices, and I will love for y'all to come join us.
Excellent. So they can call in?
You can call in, you can walk in, you can dine in, take out. We do catering also, but it's in-house catering.
Excellent. All right, and can you tell us your location, your address, and telephone number?
Yes, so we're located at 232C North Hammond Drive, Monroe, Georgia, 30655, 678-635-8493. And you can shoot us an email, rjsoulfood16@gmail.com.
Excellent. Well, again, we're excited to have you, and are you ready to go cut your ribbon?
Yes.
Excellent. 3. Excellent. Very good. Good job. So a lot of people, they'll take these, they'll hang it on the door, hang it on your husband's head.
Good morning. morning and welcome. I'm Dina Huff. I'm the Executive Director for the Partnership for Families, Children, and Youth. And today we're at Back to Basics. It's Georgia Pre-K Week, and we're here in Monroe celebrating with these lovely children at the center here at Back to Basics with these lovely children and the teachers and the director, Miss Rochelle Wright. And I'm going to let Miss Rochelle tell you what's going on this week, and she can tell you a little bit about what the kids are doing this week.
Well, we're celebrating Georgia Pre-K Week. We've had local business owners, politicians come in, celebrate with us, read to the children, spend time with us, want us to see what we're doing in the community. That's what we're doing. Everybody wave at the camera. Yeah.
And who are your teachers?
This is Miss Casey.
This is
Miss Phyllis.
And Miss Casey.
And Miss Casey.
And Miss Phyllis.
And I did hear something fun that y'all are doing today. Can y'all tell Mr. Paul what you're doing today? Where are you going? They are going, in case you couldn't understand them, they are going bowling today, and they're so excited. Not today?
It's coming soon.
It's coming soon. Okay, so.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that's
Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then that's the date. Okay, so we have lots of wonderful children.
school tomorrow.
Oh, okay, they have another school tomorrow. Okay, so no school tomorrow. I am so confused. They have so much activity this week. So they're having so much fun in Georgia Pre-K Week this week, doing lots of activities. Anything else y'all want to tell us about this week?
What else have we been doing this week? What have we been learning about?
Jesus.
Well, in chapel, yes, we learned about Jesus. And what else do we do?
We dance.
We dance, and we've been learning about what?
What are those things we've been dancing?
And we've been learning about recycling. We learned how to recycle and save our trash. And what else?
And we go in a zombie house.
Oh yeah, and we earn JoJo points because we're so sweet. We get to go in the bounce house, right?
So, tell me, do you have nap time?
Oh, do we have nap time? Yeah. Is it our favorite time of the day?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. So I know one really important thing for today. Somebody brought some ring pops. Who brought the ring pops? Autumn brought the ring pops. So let's give Autumn a hand. All right.
That is
So
our highlight of the day.
yes, that is the highlight of today. So thank you all for being my guests today. So is there anything else you'd like to add, Miss Rochelle?
There's not. Just thank y'all for coming, and we enjoyed you being here. Kids, tell them thanks for
Everybody say
coming.
thank you.
So thanks, Georgia Pre-K.
Did you wave at them, tell them bye-bye? Good job.
Good morning, everyone. My name's Joel Burnside, and I'm your Walton County Extension Agent here in Monroe, Georgia, for Walton County and the University of Georgia. I want to talk to you today about something special we have coming up for the 2017 new year. We are actually going to be holding Master Gardener classes in Walton County for Walton County citizens, and it's also open to Barrow and Jackson counties. We kind of work together to put on our Master Gardener volunteer classes. If you're wondering what Master Gardeners are, it can get very detailed, but Master Gardeners are basically our frontline volunteers for extension. So if you have a passion for gardening, if you like gardening and you like making a difference in the community, I really suggest that you come by the office or give our office a call to get more information. We have a good group of Master Gardeners already in Walton County, but we've had a few years where we did not offer any classes to certify new Master Gardener volunteers, but we're offering that starting in January. The classes are on Tuesday and Thursdays from 9 to 11 in the morning, so 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. From the very 1st of January, January 4th or 3rd, I believe, until mid-March. And that's every Tuesdays and Thursdays. And the classes, I'll be a speaker, and we'll also be bringing in, you get educated and trained by professors from the university. There are guest speakers. They'll come in and we'll have different class, different topic every day. So you go through the class, you get certified, you take a test at the end to pass it, and after that, then you are required to give back 50 volunteer hours in your community. And that can be anything from helping us go into schools and do school programming on gardening topics. That can be anything from beautification projects and parks or public buildings within your community. And it also can be as simple as coming into the extension office here in Monroe and helping us file paperwork or answer the phone. It's a way for the extension to reach out into the community and make a difference and make an impact. So if that's something that interests you, I really suggest that you come by the office or give us a call. You need to fill out an application. They're due on November 1st, so we're counting down. We've got a little less than a month to get your application in. Applications are available on the Walton County Extension website. If you go to the Master Gardener page on our website, there's a link there that you can print off the application and turn it into our office, or you can also come by our office here in Monroe to pick one up. We have them printed out and ready to hand out to you if you'd want one. There is a cost to the class. It's $150 to be part of the class, which sounds like a lot, but that includes you get a Master Gardener handbook. It's a huge, thick handbook. You get a name badge, and then that also includes all the materials for each of the classes from January to March. And those fees also help us to pay traveling fees for some of the professors that will be traveling to come speak. So $150 sounds like a lot, but it actually goes a long way in putting that back into the program. So please, if you would come by the office, give us a call, fill out an application. That would be great. And if you're looking for more information, I'll be happy to talk with you and give you more information. Also, this week is our National 4-H Week, so we're celebrating 4-H, which we have a great 4-H club program here in Walton County. And if you want to come by the office, we have our clovergrams. We put these out monthly. These are our newsletters, so you can read in here to see what's going on. We give dates and times of different clubs and activities that 4-H is involved in throughout the county. One of the things we do for National 4-H is we team up with Tractor Supply in Monroe. So if you from yesterday until the 16th, I believe, is the date. If you go to Tractor Supply, anything you buy, a small percentage of that purchase will be donated back to the Monroe Walton County 4-H Club, and that we rely on that to help do some of our programs within the county. So please, this weekend, if you'll get out and go by Tractor Supply, the kids will be there helping out, so you'll get to see the kids and talk to the kids and some of our 4-H staff. But make a small purchase and make a small donation back to the 4-H Club. Again, our phone number here in Monroe at our Monroe office is 770-267-1324. Thanks, and have a great day.
Hi, I'm Kenny Sargent with Keep Walton Beautiful in the Walton County Recycling Center. I want to thank everybody for tuning in today. Right now is about our busiest time of year here around the center. We've got several events coming up that we're excited about. I would like to take the time. We're all set for Rivers Alive. We're in the process of getting our volunteers supplies together, And on the 15th, we're going to be meeting up and getting out across the county and cleaning up a lot of our local waterways or areas close to those waterways. So we're really excited about that. I wanted to, again, take the time to thank everybody that has volunteered. And I hope that this event reinforces just how important it is for us to take good care of our local waterways and making sure that we keep them litter free and clean. There's no more important resource than water, and you may have heard about it on the news some, but some of the areas they're finding around our country and off the coast and things like that of the plastic and litter that is out in the ocean and all of the problems it's causing. I would encourage any of you that may not have heard of any of this stuff to just Google it or look on the computer and check and see what kind of problems we're having with all of our plastics and things like that are making it to the ocean, and the things they're doing to some of the sea life in the oceans. So again, I wanted to thank everybody for coming out for Rivers Alive and really working hard and doing a great job. The next thing we have coming up is on November the 12th will be America Recycles Day. That's Saturday, November the 12th. And this year we're going to continue on with our paint collection and our shoe recycling. So don't forget to bring in your shoes if you come to visit us. Those things go overseas to kids that don't have shoes. Just make sure that they're slightly worn and they're shoes that could be worn again. Maybe they just don't fit you, or you didn't like them, or whatever the case may be. Just know that there is a need for those, and to get those on in here. With our paint recycling, it will be about the same as always. We're not going to put a limit on it this year. It's $2 per gallon across the board for every kind of paint, and that's what the price is going to be set at. This year, we're going to add in tire recycling to our America Recycles Day event. We haven't done that in a few years, so we're hoping we can round up some tires to maybe help keep them from getting on the side of the roads and just causing eyesores all around the county. The way we're going to do that is we're going to take the first 2 tires you bring in for free, and the next 3 would be half price. So generally with small car and truck tires, we get $2 a piece, so those half price tires would be $1. For the larger truck tires, they're normally $6 a piece. They would be $3 a piece on the half price tires. After 5 tires, it's regular price. You're welcome to bring in all you want, but we are just doing the first 2 for free, and then the next 3 at half price, and everything after that is regular price. So we're really hoping we can load up on tires. We're starting to see a lot of them on the roadways around the county, and on the side of the road's not a good place for tires. So if you get this message, spread the word. It's a really good way to get rid of tires. You're not going to find a cheaper way to get rid of them. It's a really good chance to do that. Outside of that, we're trying to spend some time in schools and doing field trips out here to the recycling center. And we're doing all we can to stress to everyone the importance of recycling and the importance of keeping our community clean. I think that's something that we could all take a lesson on. Nobody wants to live in a dirty community, and nobody wants to move into a dirty community, a business, or as a residence. So that's something to keep in mind. Like I always do, if you've never been out here to see what we do, feel free to come in and visit the center. Let us walk you through. We'll show you everything that goes on out here, answer any questions you have. You can also call us at 770-267-1421 for any type recycling or other environmental questions you have. We'd be happy to help you. So until next time, take care.
Hi there, I'm Emily Russell, Director of Marketing and Business Development here at Clearview Regional Medical Center. Thanks so much for joining us today. As many of you are aware, we are entering the time of year that is known as the flu season. So whether that means you're protecting yourself from getting sick or you might possibly get sick, it is that time of year for the sniffles to begin, the colds, the coughs, and flu to be running rampant. The flu vaccine is out right now. We highly encourage anyone and everyone to get the flu vaccine. There's a lot of research out there that kind of talks about the herd methodology, meaning the more people that are protected by that vaccination, the less likely that sickness is to make it into a certain population. So by protecting yourself and your family, not only are you protecting your people, but you're also protecting your friends, your neighbors, and those that you might come in contact with on a consistent basis. So we highly encourage the flu vaccine. The flu vaccine is offered in many different retail locations around town. Your pharmacy might have it, your physician's office. If you don't have a way that you already get the flu vaccine, we would be happy to give that to you at one of our primary care offices. We have two that are located here in Monroe. One is actually on our campus here, and Dr. Robin Pettigrew and Dr. Marilyn Digamon Beltran are the physicians in that practice, and their phone number is 770-267-8464. Generally speaking, the flu vaccine is covered by a lot of different insurances, so you don't really even have to worry about coming out of pocket for anything. More than likely, it might be covered by your insurance plan. However, if it isn't, the cash price is fairly affordable and it's important to get as well. So in addition to our primary care office with Dr. Pettigrew and Dr. Digamon Beltran here on our campus, we also have one located over at Breedlove Drive, and that address is 704 Breedlove Drive, and our physicians there are two family practice physicians, Dr. Julie Allen and Dr. Joel Garrison, and they're happy to provide you and your family with all of the immunizations that they may need. They treat patients of all ages, all the way from newborns to geriatrics. So we would be happy to take care of your entire family. But the main message is to make sure that you get that flu vaccine. Again, not only are you protecting you, but you're also protecting your friends, your family, and your neighbors. A lot of times people will even say, when I got the flu vaccine, I got sick. I got the flu that year, and so I don't want to get the vaccine. More times than not, what we actually find is it's not the vaccine that actually makes you sick. It's just the fact that you still come in contact with the flu, but the vaccine lessens the severity of that case of the flu. So your symptoms last for a shorter amount of time. Your sickness actually is condensed into a shorter amount of time. So the flu vaccine, if it doesn't prevent it completely, it can absolutely help lessen those symptoms and that time that you're down experiencing the flu. So either way, the flu vaccine is just a great idea to get for individuals of all ages, young and old alike. So be sure and do that. In addition, there are lots of other vaccines available out right now. One that's very popular is actually the pneumonia vaccine. For a lot of elderly people, pneumonia is a very real threat, especially if you're in a nursing facility or a long-term care facility. A lot of times patients will become a little worried that they might develop the flu or a cold that could lead to bronchitis and eventually to pneumonia. So there's actually a vaccine out there now to protect against pneumonia. And again, if that's something that you're not familiar with and you need a physician to kind of walk you through that process, we're happy to do that with you, with any of our physicians that we have on staff here at Clearview. With our primary care physicians, with our Clearview primary care physicians, we're always accepting new patients. Walk-ins are welcome. No appointment necessary. We just want to help treat you and your family and just do what we can to make you feel well and healthy, and also protect you against future sicknesses through those vaccines. As always, we enjoy treating the whole family here at Clearview. There's a little something for everybody, whether you're sick or you're well and you're looking to maintain that wellness. We are happy to help you with whatever that might be. So be sure to go and get that flu vaccine. And if you don't have a physician, whether they be a primary care physician or maybe you need a specialist referral as well, you can call our physician referral line at 1-877-933-2762. And we're happy to walk you through that process, talk to you about different physicians that are available to you in your area that accept certain insurances that you might be on. A little unknown fact actually about Clearview, as open enrollment time is approaching for many employers, we accept pretty much every single plan here at Clearview. There are very few that we don't accept. In fact, our scope is so broad at this point that we even accept Kaiser insurance. So if you are looking at choosing different plans and you want to make sure that it's one that we accept, give us a call here at the hospital. And if it's not one that we accept, we'll look into it and see if that's one that we can add to our plans as well. We're always looking to make sure that we can serve the needs of our community. So that's something that we're very passionate about. So give us a call. Any insurances that are accepted here at the hospital are also accepted in the Clearview clinics for those physicians that are around those specialist and primary cares. So that would carry over as well. So as you're signing up, like I said, we accept most insurances, including Kaiser as well. But just give us a call if you're not sure about something and you want to kind of talk through it. We'll be happy to help you with whatever that is. So thanks so much for tuning in. If we can ever help you with anything at Clearview, just give us a call. You can always find more information about Clearview on our website at www.clearviewregionalmedicalcenter.com. Thanks so much and stay well.
Hey again, and thanks for tuning in. We're going to show you some dogs and cats that are here at Walton County Animal Control. It kind of seems like it's a dog's world. The dogs always get all the attention, but don't forget we get a lot of cats here at the shelter. We're still kind of at that tail end of kitten season, so we're getting a lot of kittens in and of a lot of adult cats too. Some of these are just strays, but there's also ones that are turned in by their owners that are already fixed, some of them declawed. We get a wide variety of cats in here. With the cats, we do 2-for-1 adoptions. That means for $40, you can get 2 kittens or 2 adults, mix and match however you want. All those get vaccines, they get deworming. We have combo testing available upon request, and a rabies vaccine is also included in the adoption fee. So, I know there's cats all over the place, but this is a great place to come and adopt a cat. And so now we're going to show you some of those animals that are here at Walton County Animal Control.
This is Gypsy. She's a beagle puppy, about 3 months old. She's already had all of her shots except for rabies, and she's really sweet and playful. She just needs someone to give her a good home.
I have a 2-year-old male short hair cat. He is not neutered, so he'll need to be neutered. But he's a very loving cat, loves to sit in your lap, wants to be petted all the time, loves to purr. So if you need a cat, just come down here. We have plenty of them.
Here we have brother and sister. They're about 2 to 3 months old. This one climbing up me is a male. This one is a female. They're both really friendly, want to be held and loved, just need a good home.
Well, we have a female. She's probably about a year old, very sweet, and needs a home fast.
This is Butch. He's about 7 months old. He's a pit mix. He's a little shy, but he's really sweet, and he just needs someone to give him a good home and open him up a little bit. All of his vaccines are included in his adoption, and he's ready to go anytime.
This here's a mixed breed female, about 6 months old, not spayed, just looking for a good home. This here's a about 2 or 3 year old tricolor chow mix. He's very sweet, very loving. Got a good coat on him. He's definitely looking for a good home.
Where do you come alive? A stadium, lecture hall, a music hall, church potluck? This year, you have a new spot, walkgeorgia.org, a free website that provides you with all the resources needed to get your heart rate up and body out in your community. Sign up and receive individual or group fitness tracking, fitness demos by certified trainers, recipes, and a guide to resources in your Georgia County, all in one easy-to-use site. When you move more, you live more. walkgeorgia.org.
Green, green, green. It's your home, it's your dream. Radon test and keep it healthy and clean. Make it green, green, green.
Making it green is making sure the air in your home is healthy for your family to breathe.
Make sure you test your home for the presence of radon. It's easy. To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN. Preserve your family's health and well-being. Get your home tested. Now that's living healthy and green. Green, green, green. It's your home, it's your dream. Radon testing, keep it healthy and clean. Make it green, green, green.
To learn more, call 866-730-GREEN.
Do you have a collection of films and videotape sitting in your attic, basement, hall closet, or a box somewhere that are being lost to time? Creative artists can transfer your 8mm, Super 8mm, and 16mm films, as well as converting your VHS, CVHS, 8mm, and mini DV to DVD. Preserve your family's video history for the generations to come. Creative Artists, 1113 West Spring Street, Monroe, 770-267-7368.